I'd like to start with introducing you to Ala. Ala is an alumni of our program at MEST Africa, class of 2023. Ala is from Sudan. She joined our program as a mid-career professional in technology. She had very little English. She moved all the way she was working in Egypt as a tech entrepreneur. She had fled civil war in Sudan. She moved all the way to Ghana, primarily English-speaking country, to join our program. She is incredibly technically talented, terrified of public speaking. She joined our program and quickly tapped into her confidence, became an amazing speaker, co-founded a company called Nere with other members of her cohort, and went on to run a tech startup. She now works in the UAE as a senior product lead for a tech startup. And we are here today to talk about folks like Ala and how we design programs to support the people behind the startups that we support at MEST Africa. So we're very excited to get started. So I'm going to hand it to my colleague Owusua here to jump in with our intro.
Thank you, Emily. Good morning, lovely audience. Thank you so much for choosing our session. I've engaged a couple of you already outside. Good to see you in the room. So, okay, I already said that. Thank you for joining us. So, we work for MEST Africa. I am the recruitment associate for the program that we'll be speaking about. And Emily already introduced herself. She is the director of the training program. We absolutely love the work we do and see it as a great privilege. We work with people from diverse backgrounds from different countries, and it's really exciting. We're excited to share and learn alongside you. Oh, yes, learn alongside you because you also are going to share something with us today. This is a highly participatory session. Please engage. Please ask questions. Please lead the session with us. We will have an activity for you all to do as well, and we hope to learn a lot from you. Thank you so much and have a good time. These are our objectives for our session today. We're looking to explore the value of holistic and immersive learning in entrepreneurship education, and we also hope to have you understand MEST Africa's holistic approach to entrepreneurship training. We are looking for you to collaborate to design scenario-based curriculum models tailored to African youth. And we hope you leave here with adaptable real-world ideas for curriculum or program enhancement, and also connect, network, and develop new ecosystem contacts. All right, I'm going to speak about recruitment. I am the recruitment associate for this program that we are sharing with you. I manage all things recruitment from drafting the application questions, of course, together with Emily, and then settling on application and recruitment platforms, engaging partners as well. So we want to start with people because people are the core of our program. We design for transformation from the very first touch point, and that means recruiting with care, clarity, and intention. All of the things that we do will not be possible if we are not concerned about how we go about our recruitments. And we have a special interest in the whole candidates. We don't just focus on their business skills or their experience or their tech skills. We want to take a holistic look at the individuals that we are bringing into the program. And we do that through these major touch points. First of all, we have a multi-step screening. So from the application form to group interviews and then to individual interviews. This helps us engage the applicants at various stages of the recruitment process. And then we get to learn and understand them better as they progress through the recruitment process. We also have a whole person application. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't just look at their CVs or their background. That's not enough to define who we want to bring into the program. We take a holistic look at them, their background, their experiences, what they have learned, everything that makes up the individual as a whole. That's where our concern really is. And during our interviews, there's a scenario-based group interviews that we have them do. We have them do activities together. They have to come up with a business idea on the spot. They have to choose a manager on the spot. They have to do teamwork together on the spot. All of this helps us understand how they work together in teams, how they work with other people, how they can tolerate other people, and also how they can manage difficulties, and then how they can solve problems, because we give them real-time problems to solve in a short matter of time. So all of these help us understand them better. And if you are following, you see that we are moving from application to the group interviews, and now we'll move on to the one-on-one conversation. So we have engaged them in a group setting. We've seen how they work with other people. We've seen how they come up with solutions to problems in a team. Now we want to engage them on a personal level. We want to understand them on an individual level, their challenges, their experiences on a personal level. And that's what happens during the one-on-one conversations. Things that we noticed about them in the group interviews that we wanted more information from. This is where we ask them all of those questions as well. And then we move on to great drive and growth signals. Some of them possess very unique abilities that we are not able to see, but then to see together in the group setting. But then we have this instincts that they have some potential. There's something that we would like to tap into some more. So this stage of the recruitment process also helps us understand them better in that regard. And then finally, diversity and inclusion. We recruit from all across Africa. We also recruit both males and females into our program. So we talk about gender, we talk about nationality. And in terms of nationality, it's not just about the countries that they come from. We also look at whether they are from the rural or urban areas. We take all of these things into consideration. And then we also look at their academic experiences. And that's said, not that we are looking for people who have a certain academic qualification, but the diversity. So we have people coming in from background in medicine, background in English, background in sciences, and then they all come together and they form teams within the program. They build products within the program. So our focus is also on the various perspectives that they bring into the program. Yeah, so basically this is who we look out for in our recruitment. Yes. I'm going to go back to Emily, but I'll leave you with a quote. A powerful program isn't just designed, it is co-created by the people in it. And that creation starts as selection. That is why we have so much emphasis on the recruitment process. That helps us define who we are bringing into the program. Emily will also then walk us through the training model and the curriculum as well. Thank you.
So our recruitment process is actually, excuse me, a 6-month process from start to finish. So we are getting to know our candidates, our applicants, for almost 6 months before we make a decision. So it's a huge commitment on their end, and it's a huge commitment on our end. And that's how we're able to go through all those processes. Not all programs are able to do that. And so our hope is that as we talk about these different elements, you pick and choose things that might be helpful, things you haven't thought about, things you're already doing. And we would love to hear from you as well. So I'm going to tell you about our training model, and then I'm going to give you a chance to kind of try to add some of these elements to some training scenarios that we're going to give you. So we will get active and fun. But are we good? Everybody's good in the room so far? Yes? Okay, great. All right. So our curriculum is crafted to grow confident, adaptable, and grounded entrepreneurs, not just startups. So again, that focus on the entrepreneur, on the founder, on the person behind the business. So ideas change and businesses pivot, but strong, grounded entrepreneurs keep moving forward. So our curriculum is unique in that we are a software entrepreneurship program, but our focus just isn't on software development. We have software development curriculum, we have business curriculum, and we have what is called communications and leadership curriculum, or power skills or soft skills, depending on what you want to call it. I like to call it power skills. Those 3 buckets, every single individual coming through our program has to go through all of those sessions and workshops and apply that learning. The reason behind it is you can have an amazing tech product, but if you can't work with the people who you're building the product with, your product isn't going to get to market, right? You can have an amazing tech product, but if you don't have the essence of the business plan to get that product to market, then it's just sitting on your laptop, right? And so we try to help our entrepreneurs realize that it's beyond the business, it's beyond the tech. So much more matters with how they operate their startups. So we have these core subjects that we teach. They're taught by expert facilitators, and every topic that is taught is then applied. So if we're talking about go-to-market strategy, then they're actually going out of the building and taking their learning and testing out an idea in the market. If we're talking about coding and they're learning Python, they're actually building and developing in Python, presenting, sharing, creating. If we're talking about confidence, they're standing in front of us and presenting on a topic that they really care deeply about. And this is happening intensely for a year, every day, full time. They're coming in, they're learning together, they're applying together. Our power skills, those communications, those soft skills, are what really leave an impact on our entrepreneurs. We just did some research with our alumni, and we had a hunch that we would hear that the personal development is a very impactful part of their experience. I think what we didn't anticipate was how impactful that part of the program is. They talked about, yes, they learn the business skills. They can think about business ideas. You know, they are great with the lean startup model, all of that. They can create amazing tech products. But they mentioned that what they took away from the program is how they began to think about themselves, their opportunities, how they work in teams, how they solve problems, those non-tangible things, those elements. And that is done through our curriculum and our projects that we do together. And the subjects that we teach. We talk about conflict resolution. When they're having a conflict in their teams, we sit and go through like mediation, not to just solve the problem, but so that they can get the ideas and tools of how to solve the problem themselves in the future. Another huge component that we integrated more recently is wellness. Well-being is huge. Entrepreneurship and startup culture is very, hustle heavy. Get it done, push forward, sacrifice yourself. One day you can relax and enjoy your wealth. We don't really buy that. We realize that, especially because we're supporting founders, that we need to help them learn the skills today to care for themselves and their team moving forward. So we actually work with a wellness coach in Ghana. She has helped build curriculum modules where we talk about how to care for yourself and your team from the very beginning of your business. And that is a core part of our curriculum. It's not an aside, it's a core part of our curriculum. We also have a very diverse cohort. The peer learning is essential to the model. They don't just learn from the experts. In fact, most of the most influential learning is happening in the residential area where they're living and building their products together. And they have to learn to work together across cultural differences, across language barriers, across life experience differences, different perspectives, different opinions, different politics. That is so powerful to do intensely for a year. Many of us are in a workplace, diverse settings, but then we go home and we do our own thing. But then they're going home to that same setting and navigating that life together. That learning is part of the experience. The market immersion and real world practice, they come into our program with some ideas, but not an already created idea. They're forming ideas in the program, they're testing them out, and we force them to put that idea down and test another one 4 times. They don't like it always. But the reason for that is that we want them to really think outside of their ideas, to challenge what they're thinking about, and also to work with everybody in the cohort. So the team that they worked with the idea 1 with, they cannot work with idea 2 on. And then eventually they decide on their final idea, their final business, and their final team. And that's the one they build, and that's the one they take to the end of our program and they pitch. But that exercise of having an idea, testing it out, learning, setting it aside, and doing it again is such a powerful learning opportunity. And you'd be so surprised that many of them who thought that first idea is what they're going to pursue is often not what they pursue in the end. So it's good to try new things, right? But we're often reluctant to do that. And so we sort of force it, and there's often some tension there. And then in the end, it makes a lot of sense. And then finally, what was even talked in the plenary opening session, leadership. We talk about how do you lead a business? How do you be an ethical founder? How do you tap into your values? What are your values? How do you even find that? How do you discover that? What do you do when your team members have different goals, values? And we help them think deep. We laugh. Reflection is almost a joke in our program because I'm always often the one who's like, okay, let's think about this. Let's reflect. But what we've learned from our alumni is that skill to think inward and to think outside of yourself is very helpful for the way they lead and work beyond our program. So those are some of the core elements of our curriculum, what we teach and how we teach it. The curriculum teaches skills, but the community builds the confidence, the courage, and the lifelong collaboration. So the network our entrepreneurs make and what they learn from each other is what carries on. And we don't just learn together, we live, lead, and grow together, as I mentioned. That's where the real learning happens. And so here are some things we do in our community experience to help with that learning. So we allow tons of peer-to-peer learning. When they're doing these company build projects, those are testing out those ideas, they're learning from each other. Often you'll have a strong technical person, a strong business person, a strong marketing person, and they work in teams together and are learning from each other their different expertise. It's immersive and residential, as mentioned. Our facilitation style, we try very hard not to have I'm an expert, you're the entrepreneur, you learn from me, go and do. It's more of a mentoring relationship with our facilitators. We want them to work together. We don't like to see a hierarchy. We like to see ourselves as working alongside and together. We have lots of support structures, as mentioned. We have our wellness curriculum, but we also have counseling available. It's a year-long program. A lot of life happens in a year, and we can't ignore that. And so we make sure that our founders have that support. We try to connect them to different ecosystem events and activities throughout that year as well to make sure that they feel connected to the very environments that they're trying to build businesses in. And we have a strong alumni network. We've been running our program since 2008. We have alumni across the world, and we believe one semester, always a mester. So we tap back into our alumni network and have them engage with our entrepreneurs throughout the program, share their experiences, what was super hard, what they didn't like about the program, what they like about the program, what they learned, how they apply it today. And we talk about our campus as global territory. We believe part of that leadership, those leadership principles is that we need to set high standards. We need to see ourselves as globally excellent. And so everything we do, we like to infuse this idea of global standard and global excellence in the work, in the curriculum, in the businesses we're building. There's no reason why software products from Africa can't be used around the world. And our entrepreneurs are proving that it's possible, right?